Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target, a morning brief where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Well, the election is over, kind of. The voting is over. The election is not quite over. We don't really have complete results, but we have enough, as you can see from the futures, we have enough to be able to start repricing things very quickly. And I will say, as from a money management perspective, separate out the politics. From a money management perspective, and as far as it concerns your portfolios and your money, a divided government, which it appears we have, is a sign of unbelievable strength. And I'm going to go into detail that once we get the show open here, and we'll talk about some of the investable themes I see now going forward. Even though we don't necessarily know who the president's going to be, we do know we have know that we have a divided government going forward. So if you're catching us on replay, please subscribe so you can get these on a daily basis. If you want to join us live, please do so. We have increased to an international exposure now amongst the squadron. So a lot of cool people, a lot of good ideas, and we have a chat room and a Q&A window, which you don't see, that allows us to communicate. So it's not just me talking. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, Squadron members, welcome back to November 4th, a Wednesday, post-election day. So a lot of exciting news coming in today. Hopefully, we all have the maturity to, whether you won or lost, and whatever gets decided, be able to move on. As far as setup here in the room, make sure you have your chat window open and appropriately all attendees and panelists so everybody can see when you have stuff to chime in on. And also make sure you have your Q&A window open as well. I'm going to repost super quick the day trade trades of the day. No surprise here. They're all going to be long unless the market flips. So those just went in, and so you can be ready if you're interested in taking a trade today. I most certainly am. I will take a trade today, partially because I'm giddy and I think it's going to be either clear at the market open, whether it continues higher, so take a long. Not quite any long, but it's one of those days it's just like where you just grab a long and just make some money, or it flips over hard based on some news that comes in the next 17 minutes. I don't see that happening, but if it does, we have a short ready to go that has a very negative theme as well associated with it. All right, as far as our mission objectives for today, it's going to be to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. We have been kind of dealing with the, hey, protect our money for the past 2 to 3 months going into the election. And that was very intentional. And you may say that was cautious or wrong, or, oh, I don't care. It was the right thing to do from a money management perspective. For those of you who I've known for a decade, we've been making money hand over fist for a long time. So to turn around and give all that back would be dumb. To leave a few percentage points on the table, it literally comes down to a who cares scenario. Now, we have a lot more information today, so we can turn around and reprice it into a grow our money. So a sea change for me on protecting money, which we've been doing for months. And yes, that's boring and it does get old. And especially when the market rips higher, you kind of want a little more exposure to those gains. I get that. Thank you for your patience. That's my polite way of saying I got this, and we had to do that. And now we are going to focus back on growing our money. I'm not ready to go, all in, all chips in the middle kind of thing, because there's a lot we don't know. But when you just think, I'll talk about it here, what did we learn from the election? Well, we've got a divided government, 99% chance, right, that we're going to be divided. So what does that mean? It means what's off the table, I guess. Off the table is the huge tax changes that we thought might be coming. So even if the Biden becomes president, which again, I think is unlikely from all the information I see. And I see what, the media sources are putting out too, but I still think Trump wins in a narrow margin. But even if Biden wins, we aren't going to get the overhaul that we were going to get with the blue wave. So there might be some tax changes, but it's not going to be the taxing all capital gains or taxing capital gains as income. Or, I mean, there are some holy crap measures that he's been talking about that would be a game changer in the financial world. The whole let's overhaul all of the retirement systems. A, that makes me miserable because that's a whole bunch of new rules I have to learn and explain to everybody. But B, a lot of the favored stuff that's out there would have gone away. Well, that stuff's off the table. We're going to at least kick in that can for 4 years and we will deal with it later. So that's number one. Secondly, which you may or may, if you're an employee, you work for somebody else, you may not necessarily sit back and sweat this as much as me as a business owner of 2 businesses now, because my podcast is its own business, in addition to the financial management firm, financial services firm, is regulation. So now we're looking at, there will be minor tweaks to regulation. We're not talking, again, the sea change of the overwhelming regulation coming back to where I now have to spend a larger portion of my time trying to stay compliant than I am servicing clients and picking investments and doing financial planning for folks, and answering questions. That is a big deal. Now I can focus more on my mission, as I like to say. So those 2 things are basically off the table. So what does the market now come back? I think the market will celebrate this. I don't think the market really kind of cares necessarily who the president is. It's kind of the weakest of the 3 branches of government anyway. But, we can focus back on, are we now going to get stimulus? I think both parties kind of have to mop up now, even though CNBC and other people are reporting saying there's no chance we get some stimulus now. I disagree. I think it's time for a mea culpa. You kind of come back to the middle and show that we can get something done, and we kind of need to. A focused stimulus. I'm not saying mail checks to everybody, but certainly there's some folks out there, that industries that are, go running into a lot of trouble that need some stimulus, and it's for the right reasons. I think both parties can agree on that. And then secondly, back to, coronavirus is still a thing today. I think so. It didn't immediately go away at the election like some was chuckled about, but the focus on the vaccine and the mitigation of the second wave, third wave, however you want to call this, is we're at kind of an inflection point with, you have tomorrow is the big shutdown in Europe, specifically England, shutting down for a month. It's like, whoa. Could you imagine any place in the US other than California? I get that. And I guess Arizona wants to be more like California. What? Have fun. We still have room for you in Texas. We haven't closed the borders, but we might someday, so consider. But anyway, if we're going to start shutting places down again, that's a big deal. So we're focusing back on the vaccine, and that's going to be the next big moves up in the market. Is stimulus passed, vaccine starts becoming out there. It's not going to be overnight. You don't flip the switch, but more vaccine sort of news going higher. So anyhow, that's kind of, I went off onto a tangent there, but that's kind of if you don't hear anything else, that's the important part of what's coming out of the election. What am I thinking? And again, this is back to the growing the money and, what are the investing or investable themes going forward, is I'm looking specifically for things that can outperform in a divided government. Well, tech is one of them. They're not going to go in and, blue wave now immediately. Zuckerberg and Bezos are going to have to sit there and speak endlessly to deaf ears about why they shouldn't be broken up, and they would have gotten broken up, and it's probably coming. We just kicked the can, but we don't have to worry about that right now. We can worry about other things right now, and then we'll readdress that later on. So that's one investable theme. There's healthcare, energy, all kinds of things that will sort out as we get the official results. And then I'm going to talk afterwards. I'm not going to be long-winded today after we trade. But what do I look for in an investable theme? It's kind of a broken record on my part because I literally say it 5 times a day. But I'll say it here in the room so you can understand, in case you haven't quite processed what I'm saying when I say it. We'll kind of break it down. It's only a few things, and then how that relates to your portfolios. So am I a buyer today? You bet I am. I'm buying very specific things But I am a buyer across the board, and there are certain things that as soon as if Joe Biden gets elected president, or as soon as it looks like it is, there are going to be a few investments that are kind of all in. But we'll get to those later. All right, our flow today: long, short, open, short, long. We're looking at the market. The headlines are basically all the futures were all over the map. You know that if you followed it through the evening. I was shocked that I was able to actually lay down and go to sleep early in the evening, and then got up kind of early, around 4 a.m. to kind of see what was going on. But I wasn't nearly as stressed as I thought I would be for not only my own personal views, but as far as, money management perspective and markets as well. So headline review, those are all pretty much going to be a political fallout, except for there's a couple in California that were interesting that we'll talk about. Specific investments, I basically just put some big names up here that I think are all in play. I think all 6 of these are a buy. So there's the punchline up front. The biggest risk you have is in marijuana, because it didn't quite get passed across the board like I thought it would. But we'll see. Short-term scorecard didn't trade yesterday. We're down an R. I think we fixed that today, taking a trade long, whether we get 3R or not. I think the market basically goes higher. Like I said, unless there's some curveball. Violence didn't break out in mass. The process, if you voted, whatever your experience was, the in-person voting process was clean, was slick, one data point amongst 350 million, but for the most part, people were on Facebook talking about, yeah, this seems about right. So really the only point of contention is all these mail-in ballots and whether they're still, if there's any integrity in that. And of course, if Trump loses, that's what it will be about for the next, 6 months on really, I lost because of a bunch of mail-in ballots. And I told you 6 months ago, that's how I would lose, because it's fraud and, law and order, blah, 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 blah. So we'll see what happens there. And if that goes down, market will take a hit, but I don't really care, because now we're talking, if the market does sell off, it's going to sell off, I don't know, 5-10%. Honestly, not a number I particularly care about, because those are now going to be buying opportunities because of all the reasons I just talked about. So it's like, yeah, sure, come on, sell off. Give me some cheaper prices, because we're now retooling the portfolios to go back long. And where I was a little bit more concerned about what's the long-term, next 4 years, do we still get that 10-12%, which is the market average? We've been around the 20 to 25% range because we're heavy into aggressive/tech names. Is that achievable? I've been kind of telling folks that may not be achievable. It certainly won't be achievable if we have a blue wave. It's like, that's off the table. Now you're going to be happy if you get 8%. But now that we don't have that, we may look exactly, if Trump gets reelected, exactly like the environment we've been in for the past 4 years. And I ask you, barring COVID-19, has your money done just fine in that environment? Yes, it has. I'll answer in case you pause there, because it has. And wow, is that an environment for us to continue to make money together? All right, let's see what else I need to talk about here. All right, contingencies, all that standard. I've gone long in the intro here, but that's kind of intentional. Let's take a look over at where the market is. It's kind of like starting over from a new day here. We're up today. We focus in on the where the election, and kind of up last night as things started trickling in and up more. And I think largely, like I talked about, the market's up kind of on certainty of, okay, we're going to get a result, but then it's really up in the NASDAQ because of the split government, which means they're not going to be able to come in and take all the profits away, which would not be good for us. So that's kind of where we are. If you want to set up your charts for trading, which I know we're 6 minutes out from already, here's your SPY over here. We're going to put DraftKings as our number one. Again, 3 states, Louisiana, South Dakota, and Maryland all legalized it. It's legalized sports gambling a lot of places, and it's coming. We need the taxation from it too. You have Workhorse and as well as AMD, both conviction buys that came out this morning. All right, let's go to CNBC super quick. Let me get rid of my trading account before I show everybody that, which I don't want to do. Okay, there's CNBC. Let's share that out and refresh super quick. All right, market, the Dow futures have come in a little bit. When you look at the NASDAQ, and again, the things we're investing in today for the trading is all going to be NASDAQ and tech-based. So that's come in some. Green across Europe, split across Asia. There's our numbers yesterday in anticipation of finding the answers today. Bonds are down a little bit as guess what? Money flow. Money's going to flow right back long. Oil, yep, fine. Gold, silver, I expect those to sell off hard. Not to the point of really shorting them. I don't want to short a commodity, but that's you could. That's not really what I want. So there's your headlines. We're not even going to talk about it. Oh, hadn't seen that. Biden taking the lead in Michigan. So we'll see. You're getting plenty of headline news. You do not need it from me. All right, let's go over to Schwab, and we will talk real quick about the names. Apple's going to scream higher, upper left, upper right. Amazon's going to scream higher. Google's going to scream higher. Alibaba, depends. If Trump's reelected, you had the big Ant Financial. They pulled the plug on, not they, Alibaba, but the Chinese government. Really? They pulled the plug on something? Okay. Must be really bad if they're pulling the plug. Personal opinion. Alibaba got hit like 8% yesterday. Well, that's a buying opportunity. Certainly if Biden gets elected, because he's going to be weak in relation to Trump on China. So it's like, holy cow, that's the best scenario out there for Alibaba. KWeb is a Chinese tech ETF. It's got a bunch of crap in it. That's going to show up in your portfolio either way, if you're with me. And the last one's marijuana. I don't know. I have to look more at this. This is the only one. This is the one I'm least confident about, but it certainly has a lot of room to scream higher. All right. As far as our specific things, we'll take a look at DraftKings. That's my number one. When you look at how far it's fallen, we rode this thing up here and we were in it since, in the teens. So everybody's making money, but we took some gains in here. I know we got up in above 60. I was just laughing. It's like, it's so stupid. It's not going to stay here. I did not think it would break back down as far as it did, but now it's on its way higher. So it's on its way higher anyway. So we're going to get in on this as far as the, 800, plenty of volume up that perfect amount of percent. We can take this and we can go higher. So very confident in DraftKings. I might increase the stop a little bit just because I really don't want to get stopped out and have it act like Camping World Holdings, where we get stopped out and then it goes and does a 10x move on us. So it's a little bitter about that. So I may increase the stop today. Right now, I'm looking at a 40-cent stop. I may go 50 or more. All right, the next one, we're going to look at Workhorse. Workhorse is in the EV name. We're waiting on that stupid Postal Service contract. I think now that will come back into play. 1785 is where it closed. It's up at 1844. It's got plenty of volume, and it's kind of lagged the rest of the EV space. So when you think of NIO, Lee, Xpeng Motors, Shell, Plug, all of Tesla, all of the EV names have been screaming higher. Workhorse is kind of left behind, so I think it pulls up higher significantly. And then the last one we will talk about is my third choice, which is AMD, which is a conviction buy. And I'm going to buy this for personally and probably for several clients today as well. It's been kind of beat up as a chip maker. You look at where the chart is, 77 up to 80. By the time we get out of the room, I think it could be north of 82. I really do. So, really strong name, just everything to like about AMD as well. One thing I want to talk about real quick while we're here is Lyft. Lyft and Uber, those have already popped way too much to touch them from a day trade perspective. But in California, the measures did pass that allows the drivers to act as independent contractors, which saves you from, as a business owner, if I can hire an independent contractor, I don't have to worry about healthcare, unemployment. There's so many things I don't have to worry about. And it's a good deal from an independent contractor because they go, hey, I'm Steve LLC, and I'm a driver, and I can really manage my own stuff without having to worry about the complete political nightmare that goes with being a W-2 employee. So my 2 cents there, but I did want to cover that. Let's roll over. We have 1 minute to go. We're going to roll over to, there's our day trading chart. I'll talk about those in a minute after I get my own account set up with, again, I'm looking at DraftKings long. I'm taking a pretty big chunk, so we shall see, and increasing the stop as well. So I have mine ready to go and ready to talk. All right, 30 seconds out. Welcome to the On Time On Target trade of the day. Post-election, we have 3 longs for you to look at. If you look from left to right, I'm going to get rid of my face. So stop looking there and look left to right. You can see the SPY on the left, 1 minute. You have DraftKings going higher on a 1 minute chart. Workhorse has sold off a little bit, so that might be a good entry point for us. And last one, AMD. These are all longs. They are all different price points. So do know what you're doing as far as your specific R and things. All right, let's focus in on the market. And I anticipate really pretty much green across the board. So I'm going to try to take these sooner than later, and we shall see how they set up though. Wow, 29, 30, 65, so 50-cent bar here in DraftKings. Not super fired up about that. I kind of like the 39.50 level. We may wait for 39.60 just to let all of the profit taking get out of the system. We're at 5%, 4%, 4% across the board. Ooh, I like that sell-off in AMD too. I like that better than here. So we may switch to AMD, but I really like DraftKings here once it sorts itself out. So market just going higher. That's good. All right, let's go 39.50 long for DraftKings. We'll try to get that closer if we can. So again, have 39.50. I'm just going to make a little mark right here so I can get over to my cursor where I need it to be and take it when I need to. So get ready. It's within a few cents. We're going to be patient. We don't take it till 39.50 and then we will grab it. I'm also looking at 80 at AMD over on the right. May switch to that here in a second. Just hit 80 over there. I kind of like that setup better. So if we don't get DraftKings here, I'm going to switch to AMD and yep, still waiting. Still waiting. Come on, DraftKings, what's your issue? All right, so there I took it at 39.49 there. All right, so we got the DraftKings in. We're at 39.50. You can go 39. Let's go 39.10 for the stop. We'll use a 40-cent stop. That's longer than I wanted, but I don't want to get bounced out of this trade. And it looks like surprising it's moving against us here, but let's back out a little bit. So 39.10 would be a low of the day. That's our bottom stop here. So 39.10 and you got to be out. 39.50 is where we went in. I'll zoom back in here so we can see this. And it's basically, you know, what's that, 40 cents long? You can do your own math. Make sure you have your stop in case the market does turn around. KNG. How many shares of this did I take? I took a ton. All right. So it's working for us here. Let me make sure to check my own math. I do like AMD. I wouldn't grab AMD right here. I liked it at 80.20. All right, 800. Oops, I'm talking out loud. All right, there we go. I have everything set up for my DraftKings trade. Now, with a day like today, which is likely to scream higher, I plan on probably selling out 2/3 of my shares instead of all of my shares if I hit that 3R. So obviously, if I hit my negative stop, I'm going to sell out all of it because we manage risk to the downside. But if we get this to move up significantly, which I think it will, then we want to make sure we grab the entire gain. All right, so we are in DraftKings. We're in at 39.50. Depending on when you grabbed it, you might be in a little bit better than I was. AMD, we're not in, but I still like it long. Workhorse, I still like it long too. Am I ready to take this at 19? I think I might take this in another account too. Gonna get fancy today. Market's up 1.8%. Let's take a look at, keep an eye on DraftKings there. It is flopping around. So one eye over there as I look at, okay, NASDAQ is up 3%. So selling off a little bit there, actually. It was up over 3% earlier, but all over healthy in the green. All right, keep an eye on DraftKings. May knock us out. If it does, it does. It's a 50-cent move here in this Oh, okay, we're out. So got to be out of DraftKings there and be done with it. Okay. Well, crap. I still like it from a long-term perspective. From a day trade, though, look at that bar down. Well, couldn't hold it there. All right. Workhorse going long and AMD going long. I don't turn around and take trades again. Again, there's tax reasons not to do that, especially if you're in a taxable account. But you know, that's one of those you could turn around and see if you can get a better entry on this today. I'm obviously not going to do that because down 1R for today, and that is my trading philosophy. So I'm just making sure I'm completely clear of this. Yep. All right. C'est la vie. All right. So let's look at the overall market as a whole. I'm not taking these other two trades. So let's go to see what's going on in the big picture. All right. Apple must be up big because we have a call that's moving 41% here. Psychedelics. There were actually some psychedelic measures that passed. So we didn't talk about marijuana too much, other than there is a lot of investment in it as far as they're going to tax it. But mushrooms were passed. I can't remember in what state. But you know, psychedelic sort of things may start seeing again. There's the same medicinal as well as recreational factors when you think of psychedelics as well. So that would be the investable thesis there. We'll see. So a couple of those names moving higher. Facebook up 7%. You're going to see a lot of the tech names moving up higher here. Workhorse, we talked about. Twilio is another one. Trade Desk, gotta love Trade Desk. Let's see. K-Web, that was one I talked about earlier. For K-Web, expect to be in that. Google's another good one. There's DraftKings bouncing around. Where are you, DraftKings? I know we just busted out the trade, but that's gonna be a long-term good play for us. So really, when you look at the front screen, everything up 2.5% or more. Even treasuries, that's kind of crazy. I've never seen treasuries move up 2.5% in a day, which SPTL is a treasury. All right, let's see if anything is down out there. Canopy Growth. All right, this is a marijuana name. I'll come back up on screen here. Again, marijuana name. Where are my controls? All right. Canopy Growth. These are, when you talk marijuana names, you're almost always talking Canadian firms, but how you invest them. But the MJ is the ETF that follows it. So we'll probably find MJ. As I look here, I don't see MJ. So let's pull up MJ here. It's down 3.5%. I must be looking right over it. It's not showing up on my list. So down 3.5% here. Again, this started to run up a little bit going into the election. I need to do a little more research before I'm confident putting capital behind marijuana, but we shall see. We shall see. If Biden wins, I think it's going to be a safe bet. If Trump wins, probably not. I will probably take a pass on it. Okay, let's see what else. IBM, Kohl's, Callaway Golf selling off. Again, they're buying Top Golf, so they were kind of run up big. Not really too worried about them. Luckin's down. Crowd favorite. All right, get rid of those red names. Let's go back to what is looking up here, and then I'm going to close out with the question of the day for you. So there. All right, so I will leave it on this screen for the question of the day. So the question of the day is, looking on another screen, what do I look for in an investable theme? So I look for, first of all, I start with something that is positioned to go higher over the next, 1 to 10 years. I don't have a time frame on it. A smartphone is an example. So Apple comes out with the smartphone and you're like, carrying a computer around in your hand, huh? Don't know. Never done that. Seems dumb. Going to break a lot. Going to lose it. Kids will never do it because they're irresponsible. Okay. That was like 10, 12 years ago, whatever it turns out to be. And then after about a year or so, you go, well, it didn't just replace the computer, it replaced your flashlight, it replaced your keys in some cases, it replaces an alarm clock, it replaces a stopwatch, it replaces your Fitbit, it replaces basically so much functionality. You're like, I can pay $1,000 for this thing. I'm not saying go buy $1,000 phone, but you can certainly justify it because you're not buying all this other crap. Literally. So it's like a flashlight where my phone is my flashlight. Power goes out, I don't care. I'm flipping on my phone and I'm going, I don't have to go figure out where are the candles and where are the flashlights and all that crap like we used to for decades, right? So that's an investable theme that when you decide, okay, yep, we're going. Facebook was another one, came out. This is kind of weird. It's kind of creepy. I don't like all this private information on the internet. Then after a while, you figure out, well, I'll just offer, I don't have anything to hide, right? So I'm going to offer up all my information anyway, because who cares? And it's a way to stay connected. And the value of staying connected is better than, the worry about somebody knowing that my daughter's first name or that they play volleyball. Whoa, that's not that big of a deal. But when you pick an investable theme, then you go with it and you have to say, how can they monetize it? It's like, is Facebook going to charge us? I've commonly said for over 5 years now that if Facebook charged $100 a year, I would just pay it. I wouldn't even think about it, because it's my online scrapbook. That's where all the photos that I'm trying to move from computers that die up to the cloud to the terabyte external that I have, all that nightmare goes away, because if I know I posted onto Facebook, guess what? I can find it. It may take a while. If you haven't searched in Photos, search Photos has a search not just in your phone, but on Facebook. Get in there, you can search for a photo, and it comes up with everything you search for. It's like literally magic. So those are what investable themes are like. So what are the investable themes going forward? Obviously, technology of all sorts has a huge investable theme going forward, and it's largely because you can have best in breed. You have a highly addictive product or service. And when I say addictive, I'm not talking about like true addiction, but addictive as far as once you use it, you can't not use it. Like I couldn't imagine life without Excel. That's me. Maybe not you, and maybe I'm a nerd and I don't care. But yeah, Excel. I need Excel, right? And I need Microsoft Word and I need PowerPoint, and they can charge me pretty much whatever they want. And even when Google offers it for free, I laugh and go, I'd rather pay for the other stuff because it's better. So, best of breed with a highly addictive product or service. Think Starbucks and their coffee, or coffee makers in general. Think Disney with their amusement parks. Think Facebook, because nobody can come in and take out Facebook. I don't care whether you're Twitter or Instagram or whatever, everybody goes to Facebook first. That may change generationally, but I don't think so. And if it does, we'll change from there. So those are what I'm looking for: the highly addictive product or service. I'm looking with a moat. Disney's probably the best example of a moat, because I can't wake up and say, hey, good morning, squadron, everybody send me $10 million. We're going to go throw up an amusement park. No, you're not, because it takes years to build those things. And so, there's no way to come in and take over. With like Starbucks, it's a brand name. Dunkin' Donuts, still people don't like carrying the Dunkin' cup because it means I'm poor. And if you carry the Starbucks cup, that means I'm rich. Crap like that. It doesn't make a difference to the product, but it's the appearance, and people buy into that. Samsung and Google phones are really slick, but you know what I like about Apple is I put my Apple ID in and it all just works. And whatever. Yep, I've heard that Google's got better phones. Good for them. Don't care. You don't have the ecosystem that's associated with it. And if you're like my kids, if you don't have an Apple, if you don't have an iPhone, then you're just immediately a loser. And whether that's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's the image that's out there. So you want to think about that way with your money. And then you need to understand their margin. So last thing is, I want that highly addictive product or service. I want best of breed. I want a moat when I can find one. And then I want high margins. That's what kept me out of Amazon forever, is because I couldn't understand how they're actually making money. And they're not making money from selling stuff for pennies on the dollar. They're making money on Amazon Web Services and all the subscriptions. Subscription is pure profit, right? Like, really, you're going to pay me to use the website? Yeah, I do. And I happily pay all the time, like every year. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And all the offerings that are out there. So there's plenty of ways for them to make money once you understand that it's not eBay. eBay has to make pennies on every transaction. Amazon's like, yeah, that's amateur idea, right? I'm just going to make a crap ton of money other ways, right? So that there's higher margin, and that's part of Bezos's genius. So those are the things I'm looking for as far as investable themes. They're often hard to find. That's why if you're with me, you have a portfolio of I don't know, 10 to 15 stocks when, the so-called experts out there tell you you should never own individual stocks. You should own these big, expensive mutual funds and index funds and pay the industry, $100,000 during your lifetime for the privilege of making less. I don't know. I never get that. I do see your comment there, Burner. Let's switch over to AMD selling off. If it does, I'm going to buy because I'm going to hang up the phone here and buy some things. Market must be selling off a little bit. We're not away from if any buying that I do today, I have to be fully aware that one comment out of Trump that brings this whole election into question is a 10% hit overnight. So if you're excited about that, then don't buy anything today. You have to wait patiently. I'm not concerned because whatever it is going to be temporary. It may last till January. We'll clean it up. We'll get a president and we will move on. Democracy is intact. The republic's intact. Our way of government's intact. Violence isn't breaking out nationwide, and it's not about to start anytime soon. Those things are all in play. So we have integrity in the system. So there may be these short-term things, but you never know. Looks like of all three of our plays, they've all sold off. Kind of when the market came in here, these all sold off. If you were going to sit around and day trade all day, I would have no problem taking any of these three right here long. But I'm not going to. I'm actually going to buy and hold them once I leave the air. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed it this morning. We'll get back to trying to figure out the rest of the election. And with that, I will see you guys back in the morning. See you then.